to start the Rod Man Show live. Come on and join the fun. Starting here in a few seconds.
Stay in the fight. Stay in the fight! Yeah. When it gets hard, that's when it matters most. Stay in the fight! Was a living hell, but I'm still here, still standing strong. Even when everything went wrong, something deep won't let me break, won't let me fade. When the weight gets heavy and the road gets long, when the voice in your head says you don't belong, that's the moment you decide to stand and fight. Stay in the fight, don't you quit. Dig down deep, give everything you got left.
Start the Rod Man Show live here in about a few seconds. Let's get the other deal coming up here in a few seconds. Let me get that going. Get the space in, coming in.
It goes.
Of course.
So if I get quiet and I don't answer something, that's why. Because I had to run and get the door.
Do you want to co-host?
Oh, sure. If you need me to, absolutely.
Sure. It's been a heck of a few
Look at
days.
that.
We're going to be in the rain, dude. It never fails.
I swear. It's like, it'd been rumbling kind of like a couple hours ago, and I'm like, and it's down now. That's the way it goes. But I
Of
haven't heard a
course.
peep out of them. So maybe they're running a little late, and that's fine. Maybe because I think it's going to pass over. So maybe actually them running a little late is not a bad thing.
Well, some things happen for a reason, so maybe it's not. Through your
Yeah,
mic, Bishop. Welcome, everybody. Uh, if you guys could share the space out, which most of you have already as you're coming in, I really appreciate it.
it's like bye bye, old couch. Bye bye.
Saying your audience.
Got my money's worth out of it. I had that stuff for years, and it's this last like year, and it's like, woo, it's starting to like, you sit and you start sinking. I'm like, okay, time for new furniture.
I'm tired. I tried to nap before the space has just never worked.
Same.
The Colonel should be in here shortly. So I got a call from Chris Salcido, girlfriend.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, we just might do a thing together. Exciting. When I get
Nice.
when I get when he gets to get it started, I'll let you know. It's gonna be fun.
I really like him. He's a cool dude.
He is. He is. He's over there in another space right now. I was hoping he'd pop in here a little bit, but I really do like him. He's got a segment on his show. He's gonna have me on. It's gonna be a lot of fun, I think.
That's all.
A woman. I don't know what you talking about in that chat, but no, I am not a man. So there.
Mhm. Someone said you're
Sorry.
awesome, man.
It was
Something.
G.
I know. Something with a cactus picture.
It's my signature. The cactus is now my new mascot. I carry with me. Welcome to the Rob Manning Show live, everybody. It is more War Monday, and here we go with the Rob Manning Show live right here on X Nation and Worldview Tube. Please share the spaces you're coming in, guys. Drop it in your DM rooms. Tag your friends. Quote tweet it. I'm gonna share them all out there. You guys know the drill. And when I get that live link, get it in the nest. Help me share that out too. Yeah, I brought Bishop on stage. I know. We got to hear from him again today, but don't start, Bishop. Colonel, how are you this afternoon, sir?
Good. How is everybody? I hear an echo.
It's because Bishop thinks he needs to sit there with his mic open all the time.
Because I'm researching stuff just in case you need some substance. But okay, I will mute.
Bill is in need of substance. Okay. All right.
I'm always in need of substance.
Personal thing. I appreciate everybody's prayers. Let me just brief you up real quick on what happened over the last 7 days. My number 3 son's wife was about 23 weeks pregnant. A little over a week ago, her water broke. She went immediately to the hospital, which is about an hour away from here, which has the best NICU. That's a neonatal care unit for preemies. I've been through this before. One of my older grandsons, who's 15 now, was a preemie. But this one was born. It was born about 24 hours later in an emergency procedure because she started coming down the birth canal. So they had to get her out. Unfortunately, she was only 1 pound 4 ounces, and she passed away Saturday night after all measures to try to help her life with quality. Everything had been exhausted, unfortunately. So their little family has 2 little girls, very young, and to pray for them so that we can help them get past this, so we can take care of those wonderful little girls. We appreciate everybody's help in that regard. It is felt and appreciated. All right.
Colonel, my best friend had a premature baby, and she wanted me to tell you, even though you don't know her, she's praying for your family.
We appreciate it. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, our other grandchild that was born early was at 29 weeks. He was much better off, but it was still 120 days in a NICU. This was going to be even more, probably closer to 6 months in the NICU. And they're great people in there. Just had some things happen that we couldn't overcome, even though she was overcoming the things like lung development and those kind of things. But there was just a couple of things that overcame her little body. And tough. We appreciate everybody. All right. What else is going on besides that? There's a hijab wearing municipal judge in Benoit, Mississippi now, after a weekend of thrash of people saying that was fake news.
Right? You and Chris sent me that. He had confirmed it, sir. That's when I sent it to you. I was like, I know now it's not Ridgeland, so I'll go ahead and share it with the Colonel. And I was glad that he
so
had
I was
that.
getting hit with fake news. You're being fake news stuff because I posted one of Amy's early threads. But over it, I just said, hey, the voters of Mississippi need to get engaged right now. You let incumbents stay in office too long and they get where they feel invulnerable. I didn't even say Republican. Okay. I'm just talking about the voters. And that's the thread. You can find all the updates on that post. I think it was weekend. So Sunday morning, maybe. The Benoit, Mississippi information was just confirmed today. But it said Ridgeland, and Ridgeland is Republican. So a lot of especially the establishment Republicans in the state were going, oh, wait a minute, I know this guy and these guys, and they're not going to do that. And they didn't do that. But the story was real. People started calling it fake news after that was confirmed to be true that Ridgeland did not do it. So, Benoit, Mississippi.
Well, even the judge that was confirmed, sir, denied it because it was saying Ridgeland, but she wouldn't correct it because she didn't want the heat, sir.
Well, she corrected it this morning. I posted her new post and the documents.
live link when it's ready. I'll put that in this. This is the Rob Bennett Show. It's War Monday. We have a great guest, sir. What are we? Who are we listening to today, sir? I'm not familiar with this name.
He's been on my show before. You should be familiar with this name. Don Frankman, former Special Forces Green Beret captain, left the service because he refused to take the COVID shot. He's running for Congress in Florida District 1, which used to be Matt Gates' district. It's got the most military and veterans citizen voting population of any district in the country.
Yes, that's the district that includes Pensacola, for those of you who want to know what district it is.
That is correct. That is correct. I have to say, even in this disclaimer era, nothing I say today is an endorsement of Mr. Frankman and is not representative of the Department of War, Department of Defense, or the Department of the Air Force. And just
Yes, sir. Well, what else did you want to talk about, sir? Because there's a bunch. There's a bunch. The Saeed is making my eye twitch, sir. I mean, he's saying things, and accusing Kid Rock of, being this multi-millionaire, taking vacations from Long Island, can never take, but so are
he's defending himself. He's defending himself because he was caught on video saying how he hates Mackinac Island. Well, Mackinac Island is about as American as that is Chevrolet. He's saying he hates Mackinac Island. Mackinac Island. I have no idea.
You're in the 5%. Stop it. Stop. And we got cornered today, or a few days ago, where the person asked him about, more taxes. Are you going to tax anybody that makes under $1 million? He all did the dodge and leave like he does. And then he's all, well, for free health care, I think it would be worth paying more into FICA. And I go, ding, 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 ding. I go, there's your answer, sweetheart. He's going to tax you to death if he gets in.
I'll tell you what, why don't we just eliminate income taxes for anybody that makes $250,000 a year combined income as a couple?
That would be fabulous.
What's that?
That could be a first step to eliminating the income tax. Just eliminate the income tax for $250,000 combined income.
I can get behind that 100%.
Yeah. Founders didn't design an income tax into our revenue stream anymore. That's why we had this big behemoth, overpowerful government that, whether you want to admit it or not, extends all the way down to your local government. Because, those cameras that are above do research where they're getting the grants to do that. Where the people that got the grant money got the grant money from. Take a look at that. That's an example. So that's what he ought to be running on. If he's serious about it, I'm going to eliminate everybody's income tax below 250 combined income. Filing more expense. Whatever they want to know. What about property taxes? I mean, back in the day, that's not a federal issue. That's not a federal issue. I know it's not. It's like the Fleming people over in Louisiana, the fake, the conservative over there, non-establishment guy, because he's an establishment guy. Number one, their team tried to saddle Letlow with the whole CCS thing. But that's a state and local issue. It's not a federal issue. See, so that's it. I get the property tax issue, but back in the day, it was just be able to get an iPad on your land. That was your land. Now I understand you can pay for emergency services, city works, and things, just public works. But there are ways to do that. There are ways to do that through use tax. Those guys. So I don't disagree. It's just that it's not a federal issue. He's running for the U.S. Senate. If he's serious about it, he also ought to be donating all of his millions, right? So he can have it redistributed to the poor, right? I saw a great clip that reminded me of that argument from Charlie Kirk. They can Hassan Pike on it.
5% to the farm for the government. And the guy would do it. Did you see the clip? They're really serious. Where they were going to give him an interview, not him, but oh, I forget her name. Ilhan Omar. And they were like, oh, you might want to hide those Qurans behind you. We don't want, those objects on the camera. I was like, really? Hey, and crazy, before you really pop out of here, move to Florida. DeSantis is taking care of that no property tax thing here, dude. And he's gone. Is he really, though? He really? In a way. It's like having a camera that's watching my car coming.
That's in the next city over.
That's what she said, sir.
And I didn't know that they were using it. So I'm wondering if that town voted for it.
You know what
Gotta
I
check
didn't
it
know
out.
they were using, sir? A lot of people have been telling me they've been using, Rust-Oleum. They just go to Walmart or to Home Depot, buy a little bit, spray it on their plates to keep their plates, from rusting, and keeping them shiny looking and new. And it also helps with those clock cameras in a way, sir.
I would never advocate doing anything against the law. So make sure you know the law where you're at.
Yeah, it's the reflective stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I hear it.
Yeah, there's 100 years. Because they're like you 100
they're of age now, obviously. And they were born after 9/11. I don't remember seeing the picture of the guy, the video, the actual live shot of the guy flying outside of him. I see that still picture of that man. It posted right now. I saw that live. Live video. And he was out there with these people, they haven't seen that. They haven't stood in that ground and smelled the roasted meat. Smell like someone's dead. Picked them up. Put them in their life. Or had to go change your whole life. Into fucking in the military. They don't know anything. Most of them. They haven't experienced it.
All right, 4 minutes, sir. 4 minutes to the countdown. Everybody was probably no show tomorrow. There'll be these guys the best of for Anthony and Steve. We still gonna be back Thursday.
Ounces of gold an ounce today. 4,000. No, it's 4,000.
Let's see. I just looked it up a second ago. 4,330 ounces up to 400 or 4,000 of 4,400 ounces. Basically $4,400 or $4,300. I thought there'd be a lot more than that. Like somewhere in the trillions, huh?
That's why I wanted to get
Recording in progress. All right, everybody, 2 minutes to the countdown. We'll grab that live link as soon as Tom can get that ready. Put it in the nest if you guys can help me share that out as well. We're exposed to be fantastic conversation. Don't let anybody miss it, guys. So share that live link and share the space out, guys. It's going to be a lot of fun, and we're going to miss it for 2 days before we get back. So yeah, let's meet everybody. And I'll be right back. Grab that link. Hello, Thomas.
Hey guys, got a little bit under a minute. Got that live link up to you.
All right. Did you hear Shell a second ago?
Yes, I did.
Right. I think it's a live audience. So
Excellent.
look forward to it. It's going to be great.
Yeah, should we thought? I'm looking for the link on X right now to share.
Wow. Sharam Hady and TILministry.com, TILministry.com. And of course, we'll be following the primaries tomorrow in key states like Wisconsin and Minnesota. We'll be live tomorrow night to bring you the results. 7:30 Central, Brandon House Live tomorrow night. With lots of guests. Sharam will probably check in. I know Dan Eastman's going to check in, and Cyrus, and many more. And we'll be watching the race with Mike Lindell and Miss Long there in Wisconsin and many others. All right. And as always, thank you for listening. Thank you for supporting WorldviewFoundation.com. WorldviewFoundation.com. May God save America. Take care.
Colonel Rob Phoenix is the lifelong recruiting
You are watching World View, still 735 years of world history documentary. Research, live.
He has served as a bomber squadron.
Served our country for more than Bomber Squadron Commander, Bomb Disposal Technician, Joint Chiefs of Staff Operations Officer, assisted the National Security Team with the campaign plan for the global war on terrorism. The author of the first theater nuclear warplane, and served as the Vice Commander of America's largest airborne intelligence wing.
National Security Council issued a fresh statement this weekend calling for the United States to permanently end the war and compensate Iran for damages before the strait will reopen. This does come as Iran's foreign minister says even if these streets are questions about what comes next, and the Iranians are starting to make new demands. Iran's Supreme National Security Council issued a fresh statement this weekend calling for the United States to permanently end the war and compensate Iran for damages before the strait would reopen. This does come as Iran's foreign minister says even if a deal is reached, it doesn't necessarily mean the strait will stay open.
We have been discussing the temporary route, and we are very close to reaching a conclusion. Work is being carried out based on the maps of this route. Prepared by the armed forces, negotiations have taken place between the navies of the two countries, and the details are being finalized. I believe we will be able to conclude these negotiations very soon.
Conversations about the strait come as the U.S. naval blockade of Iranian ports remains in effect, costing the regime hundreds of millions of dollars each day. Vice President J.D.
To feel like we've gotten what we need out of this particular engagement, that is still to be determined, but I do think we've made some progress over the last few days.
With talks ongoing, Iranian proxies remain active. The Yemen-based Houthis launched a new attack on Saudi oil refineries early this morning. The Houthis have also launched several other attacks in their...
Welcome back to the Rob Manus Show. We're live on Worldview Tube and our X Spaces simulcast. We've just seen the latest on the Iran front, folks. Once again, Washington's civilian leadership is squabbling, well, in the media too, while deep in the conflict. And our readiness, our warriors, and our trust in the chain of command take the hit. Why? Because of the endless ongoing attacks on the commander-in-chief and the strategy, instead of deciding, hey, politics stops at the water's edge, like is an American tradition, and working together to get this thing won. But this isn't new. From the endless proxy fights to decisions that hollowed out the force at home, the people in suits keep sending the people in uniform into harm's way, and too often treating them as expendable when they push back. Well, I guess they live that reality. John Franklin is a former Army captain. When the COVID vaccine hit into what was then the Department of Defense, John refused what he and many others saw as an unlawful and immoral order, and on July 1st, 2023, he voluntarily separated rather than compromise. And he didn't go quietly either. He's a signer of the Declaration of Military Accountability, as am I, and proud to have joined him in that. And he's been fighting ever since for the thousands forced out and the readiness that was destroyed. And today, he's a candidate for Congress in Florida's 1st district. You know that district. It's the one with more military members and veterans than any other in the country. I think it was Congressman Matt Gates' district at one point. He's running as a fighter for faith, freedom, and Florida first. Medical freedom, closed borders, real accountability, and America First leadership that puts the force and the Constitution ahead of everything else. John knows what happens when civilian leaders get it wrong. He's here to talk about how we fix it. John, welcome back to the Rob Manus Show.
Thanks so much for having me, Rob. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Well, this is More War Monday, so we always review one of the current combat operations. That's where the clip from the Iran war comes in partially. But I just wanted, as a congressman, had you in office, I know this is a hypothetical, but it's based on reality. If you were faced with going into this current war, how would you have approached that?
So I would have, and the one thing that you don't have access to as a civilian is the intelligence of what actually is happening in the battlefield. So you never have that perfect picture, and you hope that the leadership at the top that makes the decisions has that information. But my thought process is that in June of 2025, when we had the bunker busters and we were told that we completely obliterated the rebuild what they've already done. So then when we continued the aggressive operations, the offensive operations against Iran earlier this year, I had great concerns, and my concerns were raised when Joe Kent was, chose to resign from his position. So my thought process in this whole Iran war is I don't think that they are an imminent threat to our country, to our existence right now. That's not negating that they are not our friend. They have been having proxy attacks on Americans for decades and decades, over 40 years. But as far as just the threat of our country, our existence, I don't think they have that kind of capacity. So I don't think we should be involved in the capacity that we are right now and should be looking at some kind of an op-ramp. That's my thought process on it.
Well, yeah, the president's looking for an off-ramp. I have a slightly different view. I see the potential of them getting a nuclear weapon as a direct threat to the United States, and I don't have the intel that the president said anything, and that's what he was being told to. Nothing has been conducted. I think it's been conducted well, and that this president is the president of peace. So from that perspective, you said that you agree that
at this point, I don't even know. It's such a complex thing, and you don't even know if you're dealing with right. Whatever missiles are necessary if Iranian ships are blocking the strait. I'm sure that they can do different drone attacks from the shores, and that's completely changed warfare, which has made it more complex. But my thought process with Iran is, obviously, if they have aggression, you need to fight back. I had Green Berets and other soft members reaching out to me during the Biden years where they were just try to mitigate a lot of the different difficulties that you have.
yeah, I think you're right. Those two things, that they can block straight. Really, we don't get oil out of it anymore to any great extent, but it does affect the market and the prices everywhere. We got to have those two things be successful. We can't rely on some fuzzy intel. And I don't know if the intel last year was fuzzy or not, or they actually said, "Hey, we think we got it figured out, and here's where we're at." But as you know, intel doesn't. So you're in this unique district, and I know you've been campaigning hard. I follow your efforts and everything on social media. What are the veterans and military members that you're talking to that you're asking to vote for you? What are they telling you about this?
I mean, with Iran, it's kind of mixed. It's not necessarily the biggest topic that they're all discussing. I mean, for them, they're more concerned about their VA healthcare, getting the benefits that they need. The nearest hospital for us is in Biloxi, and that's hours outside the district, and they only serve 20,000 veterans there. But we have two clinics here. One serves 38,000, and that's only a clinic in Pensacola. Another about 30,000, that's in Eglin Air Force Base area, and we have about 90,000 veterans who are enrolled in healthcare here, and they wonder why do they have to travel so far for a hospital? What do they need to do to get enrolled? Other issues such as that. So those are some of the concerns, and just from the service members I know, they're just great people. They'll do what they're told to do. But they certainly want to make sure that if their lives are put at risk, there has to be a clear end state. And right now, I just don't think there's that clear end state for pushing our service members into harm's way.
Yeah. So in that district, that you're in bad need of really effective, streamlined community care. Then.
Absolutely, yes. I mean, there's just so many veterans here, 5 military bases, and one of the complaints that I have received multiple times from people with the current congressman. So Matt Gaetz was the previous congressman here, and he's an example of a civilian congressman who can do very well with the military. I've known Matt Gaetz on many occasions. I know many of his members of his staff. He had multiple veterans on his staff. Current representative didn't have a veteran on his staff until I challenged him in the primary almost a year later. That's led to many people reaching out for help, not getting it, maybe getting ignored, not getting the help they need. So there just needs to be effective constituent services, and that's something that doesn't cost you any money. I mean, it costs you money in what your budget with who you can hire on, but it doesn't. You don't need any votes. You don't need to negotiate with people in D.C. That's just have the right people, personnel, being policy in office and position right there. So that's one of the concerns. I have other guys who obviously PTSD is always a huge thing. Folks have been very happy when I've expressed my interest in making Ibogaine and hyperbaric chambers available to them, different experimental drugs that I know a number of Green Berets have gone to Central South America for that treatment, and they've come back, they've broken bad habits, they don't really have PTSD, they're kind of calm. If that's something that a service member is open to, and given the number of suicides, losing work from the suicide by many numbers during the war in Afghanistan, Iraq, then I think that's something that we need to really focus on.
Yeah, I was pleased to see the Ibogaine program be approved by the president. And this Take Care of America's Veterans Act, personally I support it and everything, but I see there's a lot of opposition. Are you hearing from folks about that act? Because one of its good parts is that I think it improves hyperbaric oxygen chambers, and it makes community care actually work the way it was originally intended by President Trump.
No, I've heard that from a couple of folks, and I'd be in favor of many of the efforts that Congress is pushing forward for, or that are being called for with regards to veterans. Whether it's the Veteran Bill of Rights that our friend in Better Action is pushing forward, whether it's the Richard Starr Act to make sure that you can get your VA pay and also your retirement pay at the same time. Our service members are veterans. They're the ones that maintain our freedom. So we have a duty and an obligation. This isn't something that we're giving them as a reward. It's something that they earned. So we need to make sure that they get the care that they earned from their time of service. And there's very few people who serve within our country, so we need to make sure that they're taken care of. And representing, God willing, the most veteran densely populated district in the country with 5 major bases. Veterans will never be the largest contingent in any particular place, but where they are the greatest contingent, I think they deserve a veteran and someone who's going to fight for them for their rights.
Yeah, and that gets me to, we're almost done with this first segment, but maybe this will bleed over to the second one a little bit. So talk about your specific platform and why you're running against this incumbent. It's a big deal to challenge an incumbent.
Sure, and I got in politics because I was forced out for not getting the COVID shot. It was while I was advocating for service members on the Hill that I realized that most members of Congress are pretty awful, and they're not getting anything done. The Republicans had the majority when I was advocating. There were hearings that they could call for. They didn't do that. And I ran in the last election when Matt Gaetz was picked up for Attorney General. I dropped out when President Trump endorsed Jimmy Petronis from challenging. But over the last 2 years, or a year and a half, what we've seen is Republicans have the House, they have the Senate. It's been one of the least productive sessions in Congress for decades. We're not getting any lasting conservative victories. The deficit is still going up, and we're just squandering this opportunity. And it's pretty clear that you can't just have a Republican majority. That's not the victory in itself. The victory is actually pushing through those conservative policies that the party stands for, that they run on, and particularly with Jimmy Petronis. It's kind of like you're neither hot nor cold, so I'll spit you out. I think he's much more concerned about doing what the establishment wants than representing the conservative values of this district. One, he doesn't live within the district itself, and I think he should love the place enough to live in it, to represent it. So those are just some of the concerns and some of the ways he votes, saying he wants to move on past the Epstein files, voting to cover up sexual misconduct reports against members of Congress, voting to continue FISA, which has been used to spy against Americans. You know, this is the most conservative district in the state. I think we need someone who's going to squeeze every ounce of bread out of it, not someone who's going to make Mike Johnson's life easier. I think we need people who are going to convince the next generation of Republicans to vote Republican, or people to kind of convert in that way. And I just don't see him as being someone who's going to really inspire in that way. I think more just a placeholder who's being rewarded for being a good boy.
Yeah. Well, we got to take a break, John. When we come back, we'll see a clip. It's going to be orienting on Ukraine, but it's really about the defense budget, the Department of War budget debate that's happening right now. We'll be right back with John Franklin, candidate for Florida's Congressional District 1 in the Republican primary.
At a certain point, what helps you feel steady, strong, and well. Your body's collagen matters. It supports the structure of your skin, joints, and connective tissue. But as the that's where Bella Grace Elixir comes in. Bella Grace Elixir combines Verisol collagen, the world's most clinically proven collagen, with Astoril astaxanthin and cat's claw in a proprietary blend designed to help support the processes that reconstruct collagen, while also offering antioxidant and anti-inflammatory effects. And this isn't just for women. It's for men and women who want to age with more confidence, more care, and a daily wellness routine that supports the body from within. One simple elixir, thoughtfully formulated for full body wellness. Take care of the body that has carried you this far. Order Grace Elixir today at melissahouse.com.
The last couple of weeks, we see that most of has intensified the use of the ballistic missiles. And because Ukraine doesn't have enough of Patriot missile systems interceptors to take those ballistic missiles down, people die. Unfortunately, over the last couple of weeks, we see that most of ballistic missiles hit the target simply because of the amount of them and simply because we do not have the ammunition for the Patriot missile systems. The terrible situation that is happening is that being under the sanctions for so many years, Russia, Iran, and North Korea are able to manufacture more ballistic missiles than the Western world is willing to give Ukraine interceptors. And we are right now at mercy of the countries that possess the interceptors and that are not at war, because it would take 3 to 5 years for us to manufacture the interceptors ourselves.
Welcome back to the Rob Bain Show. It's World War Monday. My guest is former Green Beret U.S. Army Captain John Franklin, who's a candidate for Florida's District 1 in U.S. Congress in the Republican primary. And that's the district with the most military and veterans of any district in the United States of America. And John, dive over into the budget, the Department of War's budget, and foreign policy, and get your policy platform out on those things. The Ukraine clip there highlights one of the concerns I know you and I talked about on my show previously, and you probably heard me talk about with every guest in the past 5 years, and that is that we shouldn't be getting into a fight and acting like we're in total war, not from an armed forces perspective, but from a logistics perspective, ammunition perspective, intelligence perspective, and throw everything at a lost cause over in Ukraine, which we know they have no ability to defeat the Russians, or even move them really off of any of their territory that they have. And the speaker there was Ukraine highlighting that they don't have any ammunition, and this is recent, and they want more from those of us out here, and this is what I talked about, and you talked about before, is that, well, what if America needs their ammo for America first? We shouldn't be throwing our stuff down a rat hole in a place like Ukraine when they're not even a NATO ally and everything. So that's the highlight situation, and it's just happening exactly as we predicted. We're in a fight now where we need our own weapons and ammunition, and these people are wanting us to get them ours and want to get licensing to be able to build the things in their country. And that gets me to the budget issue. There's some things in the current NDAA that people are concerned about, licensing Ukraine to build future. What's your take on this current debate that's happening with the National Defense Authorization Act and how we can approach 2024?
Yeah, I mean, we need to first and foremost make sure that our military is prepared, having a strong military, peace through strength, and having the most prepared, ready force possible so that no nation would want to period. But does mean using those resources to protect America and America's interests. And while the election was happening for 2024, the thought process was not another dime to Ukraine. We don't want to get involved in something that can turn into a World War III or escalate beyond our own capacity to defend. We've also been hearing about how NATO needs to step up, and I think we need to pull completely out of Ukraine, stop giving them any funding whatsoever. If they were that large of an existential crisis or threat to Ukraine, to Europe, then Europe needs to step it up. They need to get involved. They need to be spending the money. We need to be focusing on China. Now, I think our biggest existential crisis, period, is the $40 trillion of debt. That means that every man, woman, and child would have to pay $118,000 to the federal government if we're going to pay that off to the collapse of our nation. So regardless of whatever other now, it could be a lucrative situation where Ukraine wants to buy missiles from us. If there are our allies are interested, fine, sell whatever. But for us to continue to give them money and get involved at a lost cause, one of the just war theory principles is don't get involved, don't fight if you can't win. And damage for yourself, for your partners, etc. So they've had time to negotiate. They need to figure out what they're going to do or look to other allies because we've been far too generous and we have enough problems of our own.
Yeah, absolutely. I was glad to see the current Trump administration's new national defense strategy put the number one priority on Western Hemisphere defense while turning towards deterring China and the Indo-Pacific. So it's official now. Do we see that happening in this budget that's going through the process now?
Yeah, I mean, I just see the large number of 1.5 trillion, and I didn't quite get the reasoning for it. I mean, until we pass actually, an audit, it's a little bit hard to justify with American taxpayer to really increase it to a large extent. There certainly are things that need upgrades, ships, our drone program, things of that nature. I know a lot of bases, but I think one of the bigger ways to make that happen is if you cut out some of the oligopolies, some of those large corporations that sort of form the military-industrial complex, and make it where if someone can come up with a cheaper, faster, more creative solution with less bureaucracy, those tax dollars and that money can go a whole lot further. And that's a lot of regulatory changes that has to happen with the procurement process with the military. And I know when Gates was here, he would complain often about having these millions and millions of dollars planes that just don't work, but you have to go to particular persons that keep ripping you off, make money off of you. I think we need to just make sure it's streamlined in the sense that everything we pay for is worth it and get back to our capitalist free market system of competition with the defense industrial base.
Yeah. Where do you see should the priority be on recreating the manufacturing base so that we don't have to rely on foreign parts and those kind of things? I mean, there's a story out this morning that the UK's autonomous boats were reporting data to the Chinese Communist Party, the People's Liberation Army, in real time during operation because of Chinese chip, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I think that shipbuilding is a huge piece of it, and I think that's where we've fallen behind, and just in our own manufacturing. So I think if we focus on bringing a lot more, whether even if it's not military manufacturing back to the United States, rather than having it, the only thing we're exporting right now is money, and we're just printing, money, and that's kind of the problem with this fiat money system that we have. And eventually, as people are getting off the dollar, that's not going to work anymore. So I think if we just focus on the economy, and there's 4 different elements of power, diplomacy, information, military economy. So if we can focus on some of those other ones, especially that, what made us so effective in World War II is we were able to come to the table and we decided to, we were able to take the car manufacturers and other manufacturers and put it all towards the military. Let's just focus on getting our technology up, our manufacturing up in so many different sectors. I think with this particular focus right now on drones and ships, I know in Pensacola, we already have so many veterans, so many bases. There's that possibility of having shipbuilding. Pensacola, I think that's a place where we could bring some federal dollars down to get some in-house shipbuilding going. But those would be some of the priorities I'd like to look at.
Yeah, glad to hear that. Saronic just announced, I think yesterday, they're going to do their testing of their new 220-foot small container ship that's autonomous right here in Gulfport, Mississippi, where I live. So we're excited about that. Getting more use of our port system. I think there should be at least 3 new large shipyards created along the Gulf Coast, in Florida, and Mississippi for sure. So I look forward to seeing your work on that when you win.
Last place in the world, the Gulf Coast.
Yeah, absolutely. In the Gulf of America, I might add.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah, I saw, speaking of new manufacturers and getting away from the defense primes, the Palmer Luckey's company, Andrew, said they're going to do their first year of production on this low-cost cruise missile, the LCM, and produce about 7,000 of them. Relatively speaking, the defense prime that produces our cruise missile can't make 900 in a year. So that's good news, right?
Absolutely, and we have to look at how drones have just absolutely changed the battlefield, and it's not just a measure of what's the most effective weapon, what's the most dangerous, it's what's the most cost effective. And if you have drones that can destroy millions of dollars, cost tens of thousands of dollars, well, eventually that's going to be the new attrition, and we don't have just endless, limitless money to spend, so we need to be very much allowing for just our creativity, protecting our technology, our patents, etc., from any kind of Chinese, stealing, robbing, to get the most creative, cost-effective way of using technology in order to bring it towards warfare, to just maintain that, be the global hegemon, be the most powerful nation in the world that no one wants to mess with.
Yeah, that's deterrence. That's how you, the most effective way of getting into endless wars, right? Just to be the deterrent against all comers. When you look at the budget across the board beyond just national security, what do you see as the ways that you can bring to the table to remove that $40 trillion, which is an existential crisis?
You need to get to one single subject spending bills, and in many ways I'm very blessed that Matt Gaetz was my congressman and I was able to really listen to a lot of what he said, but really getting to those single subject spending bills is a huge thing. When you do the omnibus bills, that just continues to drive the budget up. We're still spending at the Biden era level of spending. So you nail that down, that gets a lot of the fat out. I'm a big believer in the 10th Amendment. The 10th Amendment says that anything not relegated specifically and explicitly to the federal government belongs to the state level. So I think you bring those things down to the state level that our Constitution doesn't explicitly state.
do you reconcile a strong urge to follow orders with a real crisis of conscience?
Well, first and foremost, you have to follow God's law, not man's law. And you have people who, it wasn't just a conscience thing. This was unlawful. It was unlawful because there was no FDA-approved shot that was available for service members. They were only offered emergency use ones, so everybody who was punished was done so unlawfully, and that's why these flag officers have to be held accountable. And you're one of the few congressmen who understood that your job as a member of the House Armed Service Committee wasn't just to write a blank check to Congress. It was to be the civilian leadership over those generals to keep them in check when they stepped out of line, when they weren't being lawful.
When they weren't being lawful. Welcome back to the Rob Mayer Show, and my guest today is that man right there, former U.S. Armed Special Forces Captain John Frankman. And John, you left the service over the COVID-19 unlawful order for the COVID-19 vaccine. You were pretty well versed in the religious aspects, but also the legal aspects. From your perspective, I mean, we've been on the stage with President Trump where you've talked about this, and you asked him questions about it before the election in 24. So from your perspective, how's it going since he got back into office on what he said he was going to do?
So unfortunately, the reinstatement process has not been what we were all expecting to be, and there really hasn't been any accountability. And when I talked to President Trump, I asked him if you repair the military and how you hold people accountable, and he said he would fire their asses. But we haven't really seen any accountability. There have been people who've been tangentially fired for other things. Usually it was under the name of DEI or other such matters. But some of the biggest COVID tyrants are the ones who are at the highest levels of the Pentagon right now. And looking at the numbers, we had about 100,000 leads vaccinated. 8,600 are considered involuntarily separated, about 80-90K considered voluntarily separated. And of that 100K or so, and you don't have the exact number because it's not a staff in the DOD with one track, less than 200 have come back in, as far as the most recent stats I have. So that's a 501 ratio, less than one person for every 500 forced out. That's not acceptable, and the reason that's the number is the process is overly bureaucratic, it's difficult. There isn't full back pay. Only those who are kicked out are entitled to back pay, and even their back pay is subtracted everything they made as a civilian. From the day they were kicked out, they go back in. Most people don't get entitled to any, and there's been no accountability. If you have a broken relationship, a relationship that's messed up, you don't go back to it unless there's some kind of event, and there hasn't been that event. So there's so much more work to be done, and the military will be a morally weaker place until then. And there's going to be no way to ensure that this doesn't happen again unless different laws are put in.
Part of the reinstatement task force, I believe. And there's more than one. There's one in each service and one in the Department of War level, I believe. I mean, are you hearing about what the big sticking points are beyond the back pay? And I honestly thought that had been addressed, but I guess it hasn't.
Yeah, I mean, there really shouldn't have to be a reinstatement task force. It should just be a NILPR or some guidance that you're told what to do. But it comes down to type thing, and you don't really hear any members of Congress talking about this right now. I think everybody wants to check the box, say, hey, we did it, we solved the issue, let's move on. We don't want to get hung up on COVID. Maybe there's special interest money or involved, maybe enough of their constituents aren't loud enough about it to where they actually care. But from the people on the inside, there isn't the understanding that most people don't know, why was this an unlawful order? Secretary of War came out and said it was unlawful, but for most, there's this understanding that, hey, there's some special people who left the military, and because Trump's trying to appease them, he's going to let them back in. But really, when we're told to get shots, we just got to get shots. So what's the deal? There still is that mindset. So there hasn't been the shift in narrative. So I know the people on the task force, some are very good friends of mine. They're doing everything they can. There is one who's doing the kind of review. And once they do the review, we'll see if anything comes out about it. But I think they're still going against the bureaucracy, and we just can't underestimate the swampiness, not only in the government, but also in the Pentagon.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up the Congress, because that's the sense I get, is that they've moved past it. And that's unfortunate, because 100,000 folks like these folks, I mean, that's a pretty big hit on readiness, right?
It absolutely is. And, we have those stats based on how many people left the military within the first year of the mandate coming out. looking at how many religious exemptions were filed or how many people left, even with regards to that. But it is absolutely a huge number. And maybe those people, they would have eventually retired or left or med boarded, but it's just them doing it sooner and all at once. And that's where you have this particular group that is a lot more morally sensitive, a lot more focused on their conscience, on following the Constitution. Many of them are very talented at their jobs and what they do. We know pilots, operator. It took a lot of money to put me through the training I did. So that is the hit on readiness, but I'm more concerned about the hit on the moral capacity of the service. And with regards to Congress, like what I said with Matt Gaetz, is they should be holding military leadership accountable. They should be the civilian leadership over the military, not just the the daddies that write checks to the DoD because they say they need it.
The daddies that write checks to the DoD because
hey guys, my power just went off.
They're sugar daddies. We're the civilians that overlook them. So I hope that we see that, and that's would be my intention, God willing, to get elected.
Well, I guess they can't hear us in the studio then if I speak, right, sir?
Right. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I can hear you. It's always something. So are you storming there?
Actually, no, it's sun shining. So hold on.
I have a smarter option.
Send a text to Thomas.
Match your symptoms to Dr.
I'm on it.
In your booklet and take the right meds now and get well faster.
This is not a first aid kit. It's like having an urgent care in your home. It includes doctor-prescribed medications to treat over 39 medical issues like respiratory infections, strep throat, pneumonia, UTIs, and more.
No waiting to see the doctor. No standing in line at the pharmacy. It's right here.
Every home should have it.
All right. He's aware, sir. So if your power comes back on, do you want to reconnect to the studio?
And serious illnesses is rushed to your door. WorldviewHealthcare.com. That's WorldviewHealthcare.com.
The emergency kit available at WorldviewHealthcare.com. Make sure you don't have to go to urgent care. I got pneumonia. I didn't have to go. I took this last year. Stayed at home. Went to bed.
Introducing Worldview Tube Vault. Over 35 years of radio broadcasts, television programs, documentaries, and ebooks. Plus, Worldviewpedia, our powerful search engine for instant worldview and Bible research.
Can you hear me,
for
sir?
as little as $7.99 a month. And now, Vault members get something brand new. Courses. Our very first course is here. The Book of Revelation.
All right, guys, hang in there. We'll see if his power gets turned back on. We can continue with the show.
Complete with overview classes, walking you verse by verse through one of the most important books in Scripture. Getting started is simple. Go to worldviewtube.com/vault and join today.
Sorry, guys.
Already a member? Visit worldviewtube.com, click the person icon in the top right, and log in.
I hate dead air. I don't know what to do. Anyway, woo, it's always something. Oh, all right, guys. Show business. It's always just a nice.
Isn't show business fun?
It's always just a wild ride, sir. I love it. I love it. It happens. It happens. He when he laid out, sir, his reasons for running to Congress, I couldn't agree more. I just really couldn't. I mean, at least he's inspiring.
Yeah.
You know, I can't. I don't hear that from many candidates, to be honest with you. You know, as that's for their their platform, their reasoning for running.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah. It actually helps. You know, he actually is listening to his constituents. You know, or
I know.
potential constituents. It's fantastic.
And I connect the prophecy of Revelation to the headlines you're watching unfold right now.
Okay, word is John is going to cover it until you get back, sir.
The Lord Jesus
Okay.
Folks, we are living in serious days, and there has never been a more important.
I'm not sure if that was Logan or Thomas.
About what is coming. Get your
I think it was Thomas.
Commentary today at worldviewstore.com. That's worldviewstore.com.
So I think I've corrupted Allie Hopper, sir. She keeps using my terms, my cute little quotes, and she's cracking me up right now. She just got off the phone after an hour and a half call with it's from Canada for human trafficking. Sir, the girl's always working, always fighting the good fight.
The growth in his
facts that were in there. There's all these things now that are starting to come
That's
up
good.
documents that have
Yep,
possibly
yep.
been pedophile. So
So,
All right.
power still out, sir?
is out there.
Power is out, but
But I really want to move on away from something that I feel like is a dark, gross chapter.
computer is coming back up.
The gender pedophiles was controlling the agenda.
Tell him I'm on the way, I think.
Yes, sir. I'm on it.
Until my ups was malfunctioning. I have an ups on this thing,
Military sexual trauma counselor. So
I don't want to re-traumatize those victims, put their names on the phone.
but I got to get it back up.
their names don't have to be out there, but accountability is something that is so important. And if we know that there are people who have harmed children, we need accountability.
All right.
Full world to go to that thing. So there's nothing, to my knowledge.
Saying, hey, this was dark, and the people that were engaged in this higher standard.
And I give there's mine. The trauma that I deal with has been more on the side of people that have been first responders dealing with PTSD. And so I get very sensitive about re-traumatizing somebody. We just want to go to work. And every day that we deal with this issue, I'm afraid we're just not getting focused.
The beeping going on there, sir.
Yeah. Well, I can't.
Yeah, so there's
It's Monday.
what was that clip of? Well, I'm John
It's
Frank,
Monday.
of course, the Spring Break
Always
in
interesting.
1st Congressional District.
They just
And
rolled clip four, sir.
Petronas
They'll
was
bring you back in the screen as soon as he gets you back.
Gates
Can
after
you hear me?
Matt Gates was chosen
Yes, sir.
Attorney
All
General.
right.
And he was asked about the Epstein files at a
Did you hear what I just said?
committee here
Uh-huh.
in Houston County, which is where I live. And his response was rather troubling. He kind of said that we didn't
Trying to get
know
back.
the files. There were a lot of dark things in there, and then goes on to say, I would
Oh.
go back to work. There's more work to be done in
Dang
the
it.
documents. And then when pressed for accountability,
Internet's
moves forward into talking about that they're all out there. They're
all right.
for the world to see. It shouldn't actually take my job. My work
I don't know if this phone can do it, but I'm gonna
documents to actually.
try using the phone hotspot.
This is a point that I've brought up. I think that one of my tenets is make accountability great again, and it's.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right, we're gonna use the phone hotspot to do this. So see if I can get in. All right. Clip 4. Oh, coming back in.
Yeah, they just rolled clip four, sir.
Hey, John, thanks. Welcome back. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is the struggles of live TV. Luckily, we had a guest on that knows how to be a host. I appreciate you, John. Look, that Epstein clip wasn't just about Epstein. I think you covered it really well, but I do a lot of work in the weaponization of government space right now, John, and I wanted to give you an opportunity to talk about what you'll do as a congressman in order to do things like set things right. Like the Epstein thing is one of those issues that look, Epstein wasn't and Ghislaine Maxwell are not the only person in this. There are more. And the American people, and I'm one of them, can't understand why more perpetrators aren't being tracked down, investigated thoroughly, and prosecuted where we're able. Mhm. Yeah, exactly right, man. Sorry about the beeping in the background, folks, but we're out of power and we're on emergency power. That's just a fact of life on that. But uh, so speaking of going back on uh, onto being aggressive and fighting this, even if you have to go against the president. I mean, he took Thomas Massey out with about $32 million spend. Uh, do you think you'll be able to get elected in a primary with that position, or how are the folks on the ground talking about this kind of stuff? I guess my question.
And see it as a problem that Republicans are fighting and willing to kind of, I'd say, waste millions and millions of dollars in a primary when we are all poly market prediction markets say going to lose the House in the 2026. So I'd rather see resources pushed in some particular way. Would I be able to withstand a $30 million primary? Probably not. I mean, that's that's crazy amounts of money, and I don't have it yet. God willing, get elected. We'll see where popularity goes. And my problem right now is just name recognition, name ID. If you're on X, probably doing okay, but just getting out to those folks that might not come to the Republican clubs, but still vote pretty regularly.
Yeah, yeah. It's can you hear me okay?
I got you. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough. What are your voters talking about regarding lawfare? I mean, a lot lawfare and the Epstein thing is kind of like we hear from our congressmen. They don't really want to talk about that kind of stuff because they think we've moved beyond that. But I interview one week. Every show I did that week was a lawfare victim whose case is actively being pursued right now.
Well, there's a lot of people who are concerned about how the Florida State, the Department of, I'm trying to think, the DCO, the one that takes children, so Department of Children, Families, a number of kind of legally kidnapping of children because the parents aren't doing the medical procedures that the government deems necessary. That's a huge thing where they're seeing government intrusion even at the Florida State level. So I've had Joy Zaroff and her daughter was basically kidnapped from her and reaching out to her and hearing what's going on there, going to that court case. That's one of the areas. There's a lot of flock cameras going on. So although Democrats aren't in power right now, that's a huge issue here, largely thanks to the governor race and a lot of issues being highlighted there. So there is concerns about our Fourth Amendment rights not being spied upon. And AI data centers is another area where we're kind of worried about government intrusion to some way. It's obviously has its environmental concerns, but it's also now how is this AI capacity going to be linked in with the flock cameras to further spy on Americans?
Yeah, yeah. What are they saying about flock cameras? I mean, it just hit my radar here locally in South on the Gulf Coast of Mississippi just in the last week. Somebody told me, "Hey, there's a flock camera 100 yards from your house," uh, and I wasn't aware that I voted to allow those. Are most municipalities anything to help, or should they?
Congress is probably not going to do anything because you and I both know how useless they are, right? I mean, they voted to continue FISA spying, which has been used and weaponized against Americans. So I think you got to go back to the people who want safety and liberty deserve neither, will have neither kind of quote. Largely conservative circles, people are against it. I think there's some police who've seen that it's made their job easier, but there's always the concern of who's going to use that tool when they're in power. And I think just going through COVID, as short memory span as we have, we need to look into that and ask that question, who's going to use this later on? So I'm happy. Most of the counties are stepping up with regards to AI data centers in the area. So some of them are given outright bans. And that's largely, like I said, thanks to the governor race that's happening here. But with flock, I'd hope that there is some kind of a national ban, but within the state, we need to pressure our state legislature. And I do have some concerns about our state moving forward when DeSantis leaves.
Yeah. The Well, on artificial intelligence, there's a big debate about at the federal level about whether the feds should have one federal standard and regulatory piece of legislation, or whether the states do it at the state level. I'm a big believer in states are the laboratories for finding the best solution. So I hesitate when I hear even the president say things like, "Well, we can't have the states doing, a mixture of regulation and all that and everything. It's just got to be a federal one and stop the states from doing that." But doesn't that violate the 10th Amendment of the Constitution?
It does, and that's where it would be nice to see legislators actually following it. Where, hey, we're going to make it a state issue, but it becomes something that's so grave, and we have such consensus by things being done in a certain way. Let's make it an amendment then. So it would be awesome if we saw, hey, Florida handles it this way, California another. What's working? What concerns do we have? Okay, let's go ahead and let's make some kind of amendment with regards to artificial intelligence, where you're not doing deep fakes in a certain way or whatever. But I do appreciate that perspective.
As a federal legislator, will you look for the best ways to implement guardrails, especially on military decision making and those kind of things? I wrote an article last year that got published. I think it was in Stars and Stripes about not letting artificial intelligence into the nuclear decision making and order giving process.
Ooh, yeah, that sounds dangerous. Yeah, that sounds like a thing to definitely do. We would not want to see a nuke go off because AI thinks, oh well, or they read something wrong, or you have to have that human touch. Absolutely. So I think that would be a smart thing to kind of work within the NDAA, because that gets your law outside of the NDAA itself.
Yeah, yeah. On this accountability piece, John, the accountability of like federal prosecutors, federal judges that are continuing this lawfare, and it's holdovers from the cases. A lot of them are holdovers from the Biden administration, but they're still being prosecuted by the DOJ. Is there anything that you as a congressman would be able to do to try to mitigate that and get some of these cases thrown out that really shouldn't have ever been cases in the first place?
Yeah, I mean, certainly raising awareness on it specifically, or maybe having some, I don't know, looking at it and seeing if there's some kind of pattern where you can have the laws, changed or mitigated in some way or shape or form. I'd have to look at the kind of case by case basis and then see what kind of an overall catch there can be. But I mean, the fact is that conservatives have been attacked by the government more than Democrats have. That there's been a weaponization against them. Period. We've seen it during January 6th. With regards to the 2020 election, with the IRS. Well, I just try to get rid of the IRS period and go to a flat tax, a national sales tax, some combination of the two. And that could just dismantling the federal bureaucracy. It's just too much. We have unelected bureaucrats making laws for people, putting rules together, and then prosecuting people on those rules. So there needs to be some kind of relief. And certainly with regards to constituent services, if that were to happen to anyone within my district, would then fight with those appropriate agencies.
Yeah, the question about helping folks I think that's a big issue, especially for younger people. I mean, they look at somebody like me, and I talk about how I believe in the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, but they don't see classical liberalism doing things like protecting them from outlandish university prices and this whole social culture of being told you got to go to college to get a good job, and then not being able to get a good job after you go $200,000 or more in debt, and the housing market being crushed by these 20 million illegals that were brought into this country.
over and above the already millions and millions and millions of illegals that were here already. And the illegals are getting benefits both at the federal and state level. And you've got young people that bought into the Charlie Kirk coalition that really put President Trump back in office in a miracle. It was a historical miracle. A lot of them are looking at us going, you guys, you're not showing me that you're serious about this. What needs to happen in Congress to show those folks that we're serious about it? Because I'm serious about it. I want to enact new policies that do things like reduce the debt, reduce the size of the federal bureaucracy, deport all the illegals, and those kind of things. But how do we convince them that we really truly mean it?
Well, Congress just has to do something. They have to pass legislation. And I think back to an event last Thursday night where Jimmy Petronas was. All he talked about is the amazing work that Trump's doing, how evil Democrats are, that Democrat socialists are taking over. That's not winning young people. They need to see action. They need to see the promises kept. So you have to get the mass deportations going. We can't just stop and start talking about amnesty. There needs to be the mass deportations, period, end of story. So never stop with that. And don't make a bunch of commercials about it either, because that we just care about numbers, not publicity. Paying down the federal deficit is a huge thing, shrinking the size of the federal government, because I believe that the inflation, the reason why everything is so expensive is because we've been printing out this fake money, printing out so much money, and that's just made everything cost more. So if you don't actually pay down the deficit, if you don't actually shrink the size of the federal government, people will never actually know that you're serious. So making these substantial changes, I think getting government funding out of school systems, because when schools know that government's going to spend more than they raise their prices to, let's get rid of all of that. Let's go back to the free market economy that makes sense in all aspects of business. Let's get some antitrust laws out there to break up some of these oligopolies and corporations so that there can be more competition. There's so many different creative ideas that Congress can do. They're just not doing it. They're just focused on one thing at a time, and it's often the SAVE Act. No reason it shouldn't have passed, but if they were serious, they would have had it legislated on day one when they came back in, so that Trump could have signed it on January 20th when he was sworn in.
Exactly.
Anyone who thinks that Congress is actually fighting right now, if you think that they care about COVID, you're lying to yourself. You think they care about Epstein, you're lying to not Epstein, but Fauci, you're lying to yourself. They had 18 months to hold him accountable. They didn't. Same thing with the SAVE Act, everything else. So they need to stop thinking of just staying in power and treating the majority as the win itself. They need to actually get wins, because I'm sorry, they're going to lose the young vote next time. And I think that's what's going to happen if they keep pushing these establishment candidates in the primaries.
All right, man. Well, thank you very much. Sorry about the technical difficulties. I appreciate you coming in and sharing this platform. The election is August 18th, and you're early voting now?
That's right. So early voting right now, and the election is August 18th. So you live in Florida's 1st District, please vote for me. If you know somebody, please tell them to. And if you want to support, go to franklinforflorida.com.
All right. Thanks, John. Appreciate it. Good luck, my friend.
Thanks, Rob.
All right. I'll see you on Training Tuesday on Worldview YouTube.
Well, great interview. We did miss a little bit, but it is.
And it was John Franklin. We did have on show. I even had a Marcel Rockmore on one hand. I just, for some reason.
That would do Rob Manny Show. See you later. Love you guys.
I hope he gets elected. I really like that guy. I really did.
Stay in the fight. Stay in the fight. Yeah. When it gets hard, that's when it matters most. Stay in the fight. Stay in the fight. living hell, but I'm still here, still standing strong. Even when everything went wrong, something deep won't let me break, won't let me fade. When the